Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Office Bloke Daz.
I'm Gaynor.
Office Bloke Aidan.
Here we are, all three of us. Patreon's your thing. Check out the link in the description below. Loads and loads and loads of stuff on there. Even on the sports tier, we just finished that Johnny Manziel story.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant story, innit? It's what a character.
Yeah.
What a character of a guy. Very interesting guy. And we've also got Swamp Kings on the sports tier as well.
Check it out.
What's
Yeah,
that
check it
about?
all out. Swamp Kings is about
Florida
Gators.
Gators
Oh,
in
okay.
2008.
Yeah, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. This is when F-16 Falcons ate hawks for breakfast.
For breakfast.
I love seeing the military aircraft, mate.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it.
Yeah. I don't really know what an F-16 is, to be honest.
Well, I do know that they're all called like F-16, F-18s,
They
or fighter jets.
I don't know that any.
Yeah, I don't know.
planes like
So if
that.
someone said to me, "What's an F-16?" I'd be like, "It's a fighter jet," and they go, "Yeah, what does it look like?" Or if someone showed me a picture of it, "What's that?" I'd be like, "It's a fighter plane."
Yeah, I wouldn't. I don't know the
It's salmon,
difference
don't
between
we?
the actual names. Anyway, let's
Yeah,
go
go
for
for
it.
It's the early morning of February the 28th, 1994, and 6 volunteer pilots are on a bombing mission in violation of a NATO no-fly zone. The leader of the flight is pilot Ranko Vukmirovic from the Bosnian Serb Air Force. He and his men are in Yastreb J-21 jets, which are no match for the NATO F-16s in speed, maneuverability, or weapons. The Yastreb pilots are trying to keep below radar height, but now, with the target getting close, they're forced to ascend to 2,000 meters to start the attack run on a weapons factory. In doing so, the aging Serbian jets light up the watching NATO radars. 50 miles away, 2 patrolling F-16s are informed of the J-21's presence.
Black Flight, you have 6 bogeys. BRAA 320 for 52 at 7,000. Flanking. Copy that.
The F-16s bank towards the target. In an attempt to shorten the war,
You're just looking at the difference in the aircraft from one to the other.
Yeah.
You're seeing that. What was it called? Street or something. I can't remember what it was called. The first plane.
J-21 or something.
Yeah, but then you got the F-16s that are coming through that look
Jastreb.
like just Jastreb, is it? Yeah.
NATO has set up a no-fly zone, and the F-16s have been sent on a route to intercept. Vukmirovic gets a visual on his target and arms his bombs. The flight positions themselves in pairs, one after the other, when suddenly a transmission comes through the radio. A pit grows in Vukmirovic's stomach. He can clearly see the trails of the 2 American Air Force jets dead ahead of them. He takes a deep breath. In previous missions, the American jets have only watched and warned the enemy, but not engaged. Vukmirovic knows if the F-16s had wanted to shoot him, they could have done so from miles away. But his eyes go wide as he sees the 2 F-16s approach at breakneck speed and roar through and past the Bosnian Serb flight.
Jesus! Did you see those old Yugos?
Despite the show of force, the Serbian pilots are not distracted and keep their eyes on their objective. The Yastrebs are old tech and still use optical sights. And as the target drifts into the crosshairs, the aging planes release and drop their rudimentary but effective 550-pound bombs on target, striking them from different directions.
They dropped bombs. Understood. You're clear to engage. Weapons free. Roger, moving to engage. This is gonna be shooting fish in a barrel.
At the very rear of the formation, pilot Zlatan Sirnalic watches the last of the bombs strike. The 6 J-21s turn back towards their airbase, but their speed is no match for the F-16s, who sweep in behind them, lining up their sights on the very rear of the formation.
You know now it's over.
The pilot switches to air-to-air mode and selects an AIM-120 missile on his right display computer. On his head-up display, a box designates the target. The F-16 pilot gets a lock and presses the weapons release button.
Box 3.
The missile flies off from the wingtip. The AIM-120 AMRAAM radar-guided missile fires and locks onto the running J-21's radar signature, rapidly approaching its target. Sirnalic is scanning the skies for the Americans when he sees an enormous flash. He wonders if he's been hit, but then he sees the explosion on his wingman's left wing, immediately shredding half of it off. The The 5 remaining J-21s turn over and dive for the ground. One of the F-16s gives chase, following them all the way down into the valleys between
I
the
love
Bosnian
this.
hills. Each
Been
pair
training
of
for it.
J-21s goes its own way, leaving Sirnalic completely on his own. He frantically looks over his shoulder as he flies through the terrain, catching the terrifying sight of an American fighter hot on his heels.
Like Top Gun.
Yeah, I know.
Fox 2.
The F-16 fires an AIM-9 Sidewinder heat-seeking missile. It locks on to Sirnalic's hot engines and chases him down across the sky. Sirnalic, flying low, skims over some electrical transmission wires. The missile explodes near the wires and his tail, cutting part of his vertical stabilizer. But he's still flying. He reports the situation, but finds his radio completely dead. Alone and vulnerable, Sirnalic looks over his shoulder, expecting a second impact at any moment. But instead, he sees the F-16 turning away. Back with Mikerevic, he and his wingman push their aircraft to their limits, racing through the valleys. But the F-16 relentlessly closes the distance.
Fox 3.
He releases another AMRAAM missile, which rockets towards its target. Mikerevic is still looking across the sky to catch a glimpse of an enemy fighter when the missile flies in and disintegrates his wingman. The Yastreb explodes into flame and scrap. He breaks into evasive maneuvers once again as the F-16 fires another missile. It slams straight into his engines. The explosion shreds the fuselage and flames pour out of the holes. He wrestles the dying aircraft, pulling hard on the stick and willing it to ascend as it burns all around him. As flames engulf the cockpit, Mikerevic pulls the canopy emergency handle and ejects. The F-16 roars past as Mikerevic parachutes safely down. The F-16s continue towards the next pair of targets. They swap positions with the covering F-16 diving into action, armed with a fresh set of missiles. But their fuel is running low, and in a few minutes, they'll be forced to turn back.
Approaching bingo fuel. 2 bandits trying to escape. I may be able to get one shot. Roger that.
South of the F-16 pair, Vukmirovic and his wingman, Goran Zaric, have been forced to hear their friends taken down one by one in rapid succession. Any hope they have is crushed by the sight of an F-16 appearing over the hills behind them. The pair break formation as the American jet sweeps in. With just enough fuel left to make it back, the F-16 gets aloft.
Fox 2.
Vukmirovic sees the missile launch off the rail and turn toward him. He turns hard, trying to outmaneuver it. But it's no use. It rapidly approaches from his right and explodes just off his wing. He's stunned, but the fragmentation does no significant damage. He looks back, expecting more, but instead, the F-16 pulls off the chase, out of fuel. But NATO command has dispatched 2 more F-16s.
Imagine. Jesus. Get away with this, you know.
No.
Vukmirovic looks back up. The 2 J-21s scramble for speed, diving down as far as they dare into the valleys. They skim the treetops, racing between the hills, with the F-16s all the while shadowing them and keeping up. They look over their shoulders to see the F-16s closing the gap. There's nothing they can do to come out on top. In desperation, Vukmirovic tries a last-ditch idea. He turns straight.
These Bosnian planes look the sort of thing that you report the weather on, don't they?
Yeah.
And then next thing you've got them coming up behind you with all kinds of missiles attached to them from the NATO jet. I guess
crazy.
US.
There's a lot of missiles attached to him, aren't there?
Yeah.
It's
crazy.
Yeah, it's but there's once the missiles are locked on you, you know what you can do is the
Yeah.
technology in missiles nowadays is just incredible.
Yeah.
Just keep
These are great
following.
videos as well, aren't
Yeah.
they? Proper
right.
captivating.
towards a cliff at maximum speed. Zarich keeping close formation behind him. His heart races as the two jets head straight towards the Earth. The two pilots pull their controls as hard as they can. Zarich is crushed down by the G-forces as the ground rapidly approaches his windshield. Vukmirovich's jet clips the ground and bursts into flames. Zarich looks back. There's no parachute. The F-16s burst through the smoke, still in pursuit. He pulls back into a dive, rushing to use the terrain as cover. But they're far too close.
Fox 2.
The missile closes the gap and explodes into Zarich's tail. His fighter bursts into flames, and he loses all control. He releases the canopy and ejects, but he's far too low. The parachute has no time to open, and he falls into the fireball of his own crashed jet.
Bit unlucky that.
Yeah, I know, right?
Splash 1. There's another bandit on the radar. Engaging.
The F-16s leave the scene and catch up to another J-21 flying low over the countryside. It's Cernalic, limping his damaged jet home to safety. He's keeping an eye on his gauges when an F-16 roars past. He's filled with dread and immediately pulls on the stick. His only plan is to gain enough altitude to eject before the American can finish him off. The F-16 gets behind him, and he grabs the canopy emergency handle. But then, the F-16 pulls up alongside, matching his speed. He locks eyes with the enemy pilot. The American salutes him and flies away. Out of the 6 Yastreb pilots that volunteered for that dangerous mission, 3 never returned home. Cernalic would later say, "I don't have any bad feelings towards the American pilots."
Oni su imali svoj zadatak, mi smo imali svoj.
This event is usually referred to as the Banja Luka incident and represents the first NATO combat engagement in its history. Robert Wilbur Wright was credited with 3 victories, the highest score by a USAF pilot in a single mission since the Korean War, while pilot Stephen Yogi Allen was credited with 1 victory.
God help them if we use our F-117s.
Haha, niko nam nije rekao da je nevidljiv. Pogledaj ovaj film i vidi kako je oboren.
Yeah, good them, aren't they?
Yeah, it's good, but it's kind of a bit sad, but it's the job, isn't it?
It is sad, but that's what you're signing up for.
Yeah.
You know, it's you know what you've got to do when you sign up for the military.
Yeah.
You know, it's combat engagement and all that kind of stuff, and you know it's going to come sometimes where you're on. You know, you're in the.
Good to be American, man. Get all the best equipment.
Get your
I'm telling you.
life on the line.
I'm telling you, get that application in pretty quick, right? Yeah. It's what do we have to do? Get you to sponsor us now, right? That's what it is.
Is that it?
Yeah. Yeah, you or your brother to sponsor us, and then we can apply for that green card and head in citizenship in a few years after that.
Yeah.
We're coming.
Coming to get you.
Anyway, you've got the great videos then, they're proper engaging. Right?
They're really good. I enjoy it. You forget to stop and talk.
I know, it kind of reminded me a bit like Top Gun, the way they were sort of like going up and then sort of like, you know, going up in the into the mountains where they were leaving it right to the last minute, and then that was it, Top Gun 2.
Yeah.
I think it did that sort of thing, but it's, yeah, I love seeing the military aircraft.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen one live?
Fascinating. Just at an air show.
Yeah, the noise they make is incredible, isn't it? Yeah, you know it's you know there's an aircraft there when a military aircraft's flying by for sure.
Exactly.
Really enjoyed it. Hope you guys enjoyed it as well. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you on the next one.
Bye.
Cheers.